So this is the modification of Jacobi's method. So you may ask, sir, we didn't study Jacobi's method, so how we can say this is the modification of the same? So my answer is, previously in old syllabus Jacobi method was there, and which is a bit similar to Gauss-Seidel method, but the iteration rate of Jacobi method was quite low, and that's why we or the board of study members removed the Jacobi method and they keep only the Gauss-Seidel method, because we want a method which gives us the solution in a very short time or in very small number of iterations. So once you understand Gauss-Seidel method, you can also easily understand what could be the Jacobi method. So consider a system of equations a1x plus b1y plus c1z equal to d1. This is first equation. a2x plus b2y plus c2z equal to d2 is equation number 2. And a3x plus b3y plus c3z equal to d3. So we are considering three simultaneous equations. Now, one important thing, when you assign equation numbers, so make sure that A1, B2 and C3 are large as compared to other coefficients. So in equation number 1, A1 should be greater than B1 and C1. In equation number 2, B2 must be greater than A2 and C2. And in equation number 3, CT should be greater than A3 and B3. And if this is not true, then what you need to do? Check the equations, and the equation A in which the value of the coefficient of x is greater than coefficient of y and z, that will be your equation number 1. The equation in which B2 is greater than A2 and C2, that will be equation number 2. And similarly, the C3 will be greater than A3 and B3. So you need to interchange the equations and give the equations number accordingly. And a question may come in your mind that what will happen we didn't follow this particular rule. Then what you can do? You can try to solve the problem without following this particular rule. You will easily understand that you are not converging towards the solution. Initially you may feel that you are converging towards the solution, but later you will realize that you are going away from the solution. So that you can understand, and once you write that program, when you enter equations at that time randomly without following this particular route, enter the equations, and in very short time you can understand why we need to maintain or consider this particular rule. So equation 1 will be that equation in which A1 will be greater than B1 and C1. Equation 2 will have B2 value higher than A2 and C2, and equation number 3, C3 will be higher than A3 and B3. This is an important rule. Then you need to modify or rewrite equation number 1. That is, on left side you need to keep the value of x and take all remaining terms on the right side. So you can see the modified equation number 1, x is equal to 1 upon a1 into bracket d1 minus b1y minus c1z, and that we call it as equation number 4, as it is the modification of equation number 1. Similarly, equation number 2 you need to rewrite in terms of y. On left side y will be there and remaining terms will be on the right side. So y is equal to 1 upon b2 into bracket d2 minus a2x minus c2z. That will be now equation number 5. And similarly we will write equation number 3, in which you can see on left side z, which is equal to 1 upon c3 d into bracket d3 minus a3x minus b3y, and this will be equation number 6. So what we did, we followed the note and then we rewrite the equations, that equation number 4, x is equal to equation number 5, y is equal to, and equation number 6, z is equal to. So this is the first step in which we rewrite the equation. Then once we get equation number 4, 5 and 6, now we need to take initial approximations. So in step number 2, we will take x naught, y naught and z naught as initial approximate values of x, y and z respectively. And generally in the question, the initial values for x, y and z are not given to you. So initially assume x naught, y naught, z naught equal to 0 and you can start solving the problem. So that is another understanding for understanding. Okay, then okay, just for understanding purpose, I am again just putting the equations in every slide. So initially in equation number 4, what we will do, if we look at the right side of that equation, we have two unknowns. One is y and second one is z. Because a1, d1, b1 and c1, these are the coefficients and generally they are given to you. So in equation number 4, y and z are unknown, so we will put the initial approximations. And as we discussed, we will put y is equal to y naught as initial approximation and z equal to z naught as initial approximation. So you can see the modified equation number 4, that is x1 is equal to 1 upon a1 into bracket d1 minus b1 y naught minus c1 z naught. So in this way you will get the value x1, that is first iteration of x. Similarly, in equation number 5, there are two unknowns, x and z. So for x, we have latest approximation, that is x is equal to x1. So in equation number 5, we can put x1 by replacing x. And similarly in equation number, similarly, we can put z equal to z naught. So you can see modified equation 5, that is you will get y1 from that, which is equal to 1 upon b2 into bracket d2 minus a2x1 minus c2 z naught. Similarly, in equation number 6, there are two unknowns, x and y, and all remaining coefficients are generally known to us. And we have latest approximations for x and y, so we will put x1 by replacing x and y1 by replacing y. So we will get new equation as equation number 6. Z1 is equal to 1 upon C3 into bracket D3 minus A3x1 minus B3y1. So this is how you can calculate first iteration or the next values for x, y and z, that is x1, y1 and z1. Now we can use these values of x1, y1 and z1 to calculate next approximations, that is x2, y2 and z2. And this process you need to repeat until the values of x, y and z obtained to a desired degree of accuracy, or until the difference between two successive approximations is negligible. So you need to repeat this process again and again till we get the answer up to desired accuracy, or we will stop the iterations when the values of two successive approximation is almost set. So this is these are the steps that we need to follow in order to get solution by using Gauss-Seidel method. So very important observation in Gauss-Seidel method is that when we calculate x1, at that time we put y naught and z naught, that is first initial approximate values of y and z. But when we go to y1, we take latest value of x1, next, that is x1, and we take z naught, that is the first initial approximation. And then when we go to Z1, at that time we take latest value of X1 and Y1. So the Gauss-Seidel method always use the latest value of X, Y and Z, and that's why the iteration speed of Gauss-Seidel method is quite higher. And in case of Jacobi method, which is also called as Jacobi method, in that what we do, while calculating first iteration, let's say X1, when we calculate X1, we take Y0 and Z0. When we calculate Y1, we take X0, Z0. And when we calculate Z1, we take X0, Y0. Means whatever value we have in previous iterations, we take only these values and calculate the values of next iterations. So that's why the Gauss-Jacobi or Gauss-Jacobi method has very less speed, or the iteration rate is very low. And that's why instead of studying Jacobi method, we prefer to go for Gauss-Seidel method, as we are taking always the latest value, and that's why you will get the solution in less number of iterations. Now we will see one example so that your understanding level will increase. Okay, so we will take one example. Apply Gauss-Seidel iteration method to solve following equation. So in this example, the Gauss-Seidel method, name of the method is particularly mentioned. And here it is not mentioned that how many iterations you need to do. So in this problem, what you need to do, you need to continue the process till the two successive approximate values will have almost same values, especially up to 4 decimal points, or you may get exact values, then you can stop. Now first equation given in the problem, 3x plus 20y minus z is equal to minus 18. Second is 20x plus y minus 2z equal to 17. Third equation is 2x minus 3y plus 2z, 20z is equal to 25. Now we need to check these equations carefully, especially the coefficients. And in previous slides we discussed that equation number 1 is the equation in which the coefficient of x should be higher than coefficient of y and coefficient of z. And that's why the second equation given in the problem, we call it as a equation number 1. So this is how we are giving the numbering. Sometimes to what we can say, to confuse or to check your understanding level, the sequence is generally given randomly, and you need to decide which will be equation number 1, 2 and 3. Similarly, in equation number 2, we need to make sure that the coefficient of y is greater than coefficient of x and coefficient of z. And that's why the equation number 1, which is given in the problem, now we call it as equation number 2. And the remaining equation is last, that is third equation, where we can see that coefficient of z is higher than coefficient of x and y. So we gave numbers to equations, and we have all the equations, and there are 3 equations and 3 unknowns. So we can easily solve these simultaneous equations. So we give numbering to the equations. Now the first step, you need to rewrite the equation. So you can see equation 1 is rewritten in terms of x, that is x is equal to 1 upon 20 into bracket 17 minus y plus 2z, and now it will be equation number 4. Similarly, we can rewrite equation number 2 as y is equal to 1 upon 20 is into bracket minus 18 minus 3x plus z. Now this will be equation number 5. And then equation number 3 can be rewritten as z is equal to 1 upon 20 into bracket 25 minus 2x plus 3y. Now this will be our equation number 6. Ultimately, what we do in order to calculate the iteration, we convert equation 1, we rewrite equation 1, 2, 3 in x, y and z respectively, so that you can easily calculate the values of x, y and z during the iterations. That is the only objective. Now we have equation number 4, 5 and 6. So we will go for iteration number 1. And in the problem, the initial values of x, y and z are not given. So what we will do, we will assume x naught, y naught and z naught equal to 0 are initial approximations for x, y and z. And with this assumption, we can put in equation number y not equal to 0 and z not equal to 0. You will get value of x1. So you can see here, we put y naught and z naught equal to 0 in equation number 4. So in that equation, x1 is equal to, you can see, we are going to replace y naught and z naught by 0. And upon simplifying, we will get x1 is equal to 0.85. And generally, if we do calculations in very quick manner, then there is a chance that you may do mistakes. So first of all, in equation number put, you need to rewrite the equation in terms of y naught and z naught, then put the values and then calculate and find out the value of x1. So that this method is quite easy, but during iteration you may do mistakes, and once you do mistake at one of the steps, that error will propagate and you will not reach to the exact solution. Similarly, we will put x1, that is the latest value of x, which is equal to 0.85 and z not equal to 0 in equation number 5, and then simplify that equation and you will get the first approximate value of y1, which is equal to minus 1.0275. Then we will put the latest value of y and x, that is y1 equal to minus 1.0275 and x1 equal to 0.85 in equation number 6, and then simplify that equation, put the given values and solve it. So upon simplification, you will get z1 equal to 1.0109. So this is the value of z1. So now we have x1, y1 and z1, that is first approximations. Then we will go to second iteration, in which we will calculate the value of x2, y2 and z2, and in that we will use the output of first iteration, that is the values of x1, y1 and z1. So you can see in equation number 4, we will put y as y1 and z as z1. So you need to put these two values. Y1 is minus 1.0275 and z1 as 1.0109. So you will get x2 as 1.0025. Then in equation number 5, put x2 as 1.0025 and z1 as 1.0109. So we are putting the latest value of x and the previous iteration value of z1. So you will get y2 as minus 0.9998. Again, we will go ahead in equation number 6. We replace x by x2 and y by y2, that is with the latest approximations. And we know that x2 is equal to 1.0025 and y2 as minus 0.9998. and upon simplifying you will get Z2 equal to 0.9998. So we have x2, y2 and z, that is second approximate values of x, y and z. And now we will use these values to calculate third iteration. So in step 3 we will calculate third iteration. Again we will put the latest values of x, y and z into equations 4, 5 and 6, and you will get x3 as 1, y3 as -1 and z3 as 1. Again the values of iteration number 2 and iteration number 3 are very close to each other, but they are not same. So we will go for next iteration, because after every iterations you need to compare the values of x, y and z with the previous values. So here they are close but not same. So we will go to again fourth iteration, and when you do the fourth iteration you will get x4 as 1, y4 as -1 and z4 as 1. So if you compare x3, y3, z3 with x4, y4 and z4, both values are same. So you can say that you need to stop at iteration number 4, and the solution of the simultaneous equations are x is equal to 1, y equal to -1 and z equal to 1. So this is the answer for this particular problem by using Gauss-Seidel method. And what you can do once you get the values of x, y and z, you can put these values in equation number 2, 3 and 1, and on left side, especially on the left side, and check whether you are getting the right side value or not. And for all equations you must get the values which is there on right side. If you are getting so much deviation, then in that case you can say that whatever solution you received, that is wrong and you made some mistake during the calculations. So this is how you can cross check your answer and ultimately you can reach to the solution. So that's it for this particular method. So if you have any doubt, you can unmute yourself and ask your question. Yes, please. If you have any question,